Thank you, Savita ma'am, for the introduction. Now, before I start, I would like to welcome all of you and wish you all a very warm evening to all the esteemed faculty members who are present here. I sincerely thank Professor Naina Hasija, Principal Ma'am, and Dr. Shilpika Ma'am for giving me this opportunity to share my learnings on a very important academic topic which is associated with our academic fraternity. I also wish to extend my gratitude to all the members of our committee for extending their support and helping me at every stage of preparing this presentation. Now, before I start, I just want to share right at the beginning that I hold no expertise in this area. My understanding of plagiarism, engagement with this aspect, has been developed over the years through my training in research as an MPhil scholar and now as a PhD scholar, and through my interaction with my superiors, seniors, my faculty members. In the colleges where I've taught. So kindly pardon and overlook any mistakes that I may make during the presentation. It is going to be a interactive based presentation, and your suggestions and feedback is always welcome. And thank you again for giving me this opportunity. Right. I hope my PPT is clear and present to all of you.
Yes, it's visible, Tanu.
Okay. Right. So, before I dive deeper into the nitty gritties of today's topic of this workshop, which is tools and techniques to avoid plagiarism in development of e-content, I would like to discuss this issue of plagiarism within the context of our day-to-day familiarity of this topic and how it works, how it appears in our academic context. So, moving on with the first slide. Yeah. So we always confront plagiarism in various manners, in various ways in our academic institutions, and sometimes it appears as a monster when we confront it in assignments, in research papers that students give to us, and the monster that we want to slay, we want to kill. And sometimes it appears like an elephant in the room, where intentionally or unintentionally we sometimes feel guilty of committing plagiarism. So this academic cheating and academic honesty is an important premise to start with, and the opposite of what all of us want to achieve of plagiarism is, I think, originality. Now, originality is something that we want to say something that has not been said before. It is an interpretation of someone else's ideas. It's a fresh perspective on someone else's ideas. Uh, Showing our original outlook also involves where we take existing techniques and apply it to new areas. Then we also want to look at different topics in our discipline that have not been looked at. Our understanding of existing knowledge in an original manner also shows our original perspective and outlook. And writing down a piece of information for the first time also is original contribution. Now, with the surge in digital electronic media and the academic demands of the current era, uh, expects from us that we engage in development of content and we publish it online or we share it, at a public forum. Otherwise, also when we write research papers, when we go for higher studies, we are expected to write theses, expected to write other pieces of academic work where we need to be very cautious about these several aspects of academic writing. So I think therefore this idea of identifying the problems and at the same time where the threshold of transgression lies, that's another idea which is important to underline here, because one of the means in which we look at plagiarism is where we fail to identify whether a particular piece of academic work is plagiarized or not. So we usually look at plagiarism as intentional or unintentional. And one of the problems that can arise of unintentional plagiarism is that of crypto amnesia, which occurs when a writer reads a source and forgets having done so and later produces it through the paths that he mistakes he himself has written. So this is a crypto amnesia, which is which is a way of making a notes of making notes in in different from different resources, and you forget to uh, properly quote them or cite them when you convert those draft into your final piece of work. So writers may also sometimes copy from different sources, and then they later mistake it as their own piece of original thought or writings, because our engagement with various academic topics and our academic writing involves several stages, several processes, even if you want to publish it, a small piece of content online for students consumption. So this is an important aspect, and therefore especially in unintentional plagiarism, the threshold of transgression is very slippery, right? And detection and punishment has become the norm over the past few years, where several universities have tried to come up with guidelines, but it still remains an insufficient way to tackle the problem of plagiarism. What we really need to do is develop appropriate skills to develop the kind of atmosphere so that we use the source material appropriately, especially when we develop e-content. And more so when the term plagiarism itself is understood in divergent ways. To start with a very basic idea, plagiarism includes a wide range of materials, where you can copy someone's ideas, you can copy their words. It also includes lifting, copying without acknowledging its source, such as codes, images, symbols, graphs. And it essentially involves, as I have already discussed, intentional and unintentional deception, stealing, or just lifting somebody else's ideas. So what we see here is that we have divided plagiarism broadly into two categories. One is the intentional plagiarism, where you have complete plagiarism, then you paraphrase somebody else's work without acknowledging them, and then you write it in your own words. Or there is something called verbatim plagiarism. Then there are more unintentional ways of plagiarism, which includes patchwork and self-plagiarism. So my attention will be more on this unintentional aspect of plagiarism. Now, moving further with the context, uh, we come across several guidelines, and we will also dive a little deeper into the guidelines that UGC provides us. But a lot of times it always remains in theory, and we hardly, practice the do's and don'ts when it comes to academic writing. Or sometimes we forget, or we simply do not have enough time. So identifying instances of plagiarism is something which various departmental and institutional panels have already in place. And what is the basic thing is that they determine the percentage of content which is repeated from the source text in the new text. So usually when we use software such as Turnitin, URKUND, also open source plagiarism software such as DupliChecker, we are usually given a percentage of similarity index. And this is how most of the softwares, especially plagiarism detection softwares, rely on. And this is how the report is also generated. But the problem of defining and identifying unintentional plagiarism is even more deeper and requires a more critical reflection on several other aspects of academic writing. Now, I referred to all of you, the crypto amnesia, is something, when a writer forgets about reading a source, and at a later stage, he or she produces a part of that source as his or her own original creation. So this also comes under unintentional plagiarism. And moreover, plagiarism is also not an isolated phenomena now. We have witnessed a series of acts which are plagiarized, and it has become so frequent and widespread that now at this stage it needs significant intervention and proactive efforts to curb it. Moving further, uh, so one of the ways in which we can approach the problem of plagiarism, whether it is intentional or unintentional, we can also look at it from the approach and understand it through the lens of patch writing, which is also called gray area. And this is a kind of plagiarism which lies somewhere between fully intentional and outright use of someone else's work on the one hand, and fully appropriate use of source material. So in patch writing or in mosaic writing, which is like a collage, basically आपने एक दो तीन चार राइटर्स का वर्क पढ़ा, एक पार्ट ए में से उठाया, एक पार्ट बी में से उठाया, उनको somehow आपने connect कर दिया, and you produce it as your own original writing. So this is called patchwork. It's like building a collage. Now, this is a term that was coined by an important academic thinker, Rebecca Howards, who writes in her work is that writers who feel that they need support in their academic writing and rely too heavily on the source material adopt this technique of patch writing. And this is something which we also identify in our students' assignments. And in a lot of times, whenever an academic text is written in a hurry, or when we forget to maintain a working bibliography, or when we simply go back to our notes where we have written some quotation and then by mistake we use it, thinking that it is something we wrote on our own. So patchwork, mosaic writing, cryptomnesia, they all are responsible for unintentional plagiarism. Textual plagiarism now includes not just written text, but it also includes video, audio, images, symbols, signs, use of numbers, and anything, that circulates in our culture, through which we consume knowledge. So this is how textual plagiarism covers all aspects of intentional and unintentional plagiarism. I hope it's clear. If anyone would like to ask anything or add to some of the points that I've raised here, then they are most welcome. Okay, so moving on. Defining and understanding plagiarism. After developing a context under which we see plagiarism, under which we confront the problem plagiarism, we now move on to a more technical and academic context of dealing with the problem. Now, this brings me to the UGC 2018 Regulation of Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Educational Institutions. And it is a gazette which is officially released by the UGC in the year 2018, and it also was followed by certain other additional information about self-plagiarism. Now, this particular gazette, as it says, is applicable to students, faculty, researchers, staff of higher educational institutions in the country. The intention of devising these policies is to ensure academic values of objectivity and evidence. Now, and therefore, when we read all these gazettes and these ample information which is available to on plagiarism, we see that plagiarism is a complex and multifaceted phenomena, and at the core of it is what we usually understand as academic values. So the problem of intellectual property and copyright issues, which are closely associated with plagiarism, we can go beyond these aspects and touch upon the fundamental question, which is, how do we know which ideas are our own and what are the other influences that need to be acknowledged? So keeping in mind what plagiarism is, distinguishing it between as intentional and unintentional, and then looking at the guidelines and policies that are in place, as an academic fraternity, the pedagogical education that is also needed to understand plagiarism is going beyond these questions of intellectual property and copyright issues. It's to really understand what is it that we think are our own ideas, how to distinguish the way in which we get influenced from bulk of readings around us, and when to know how to quote and in what way. So this pedagogical approach towards plagiarism, the pedagogical education towards plagiarism, is something which is very important to also understand. Moving further, these are what the 2018 UGC regulations say, and I quote directly from the Gazette. this is what, the clear-cut definition of plagiarism that we find in these guidelines, that it's a means of practice of taking someone else's work or idea and passing them as one's own. Now, what I've listed here are the explanation of important ideas, right, which are explained in the Gazette, and which is important for academics like us to understand what do these terms actually mean. So, for example, when we look at the ways in which plagiarism is checked or studied in different research or academic papers, academic text, is that anything which is common knowledge is something which is, and if you don't cite it, then it is not plagiarism. So, common knowledge means a well known fact, a quotation, a figure, or information that is known to most of the people. So, if you state something which is commonly accepted and everybody believes in it, then you need not quote it. So, that will not be meant that it is plagiarized. Information which includes data, message, text, images, sound, voice codes, computer programs, etc. All of these details which make up and build your text, they come under this process of detection of plagiarism. Script, any kind of academic text that we produce in the form of research paper, thesis, dissertation, chapters in books, full-fledged books, or any other similar work submitted for assessment, opinion leading to the award of master's or any other research degree. Uh, However, this shall include assignments, term papers, project reports, coursework, and answer scripts. So, it is important to understand, what script means, in this, what information implies, what common knowledge implies. And reading the Gazette more closely gives us ample, scope to understand plagiarism in a flexible manner, what consists and what comes under the scrutiny, and what doesn't come under the scrutiny. Okay, so yes, moving on. This is again source. So whenever we refer to plagiarism, we are almost worrying about the sources, the sources that we use in developing of any kind of content. So what does UGC Gazette says source is? It means published primary and secondary material from any source whatsoever, and includes written information and opinions gained directly from other people, including eminent scholars, public figures, and practitioners in any form whatsoever, as also data and information in the electronic form, be it audio, video, image, or text. Information being given the same meaning as defined under so and so section. So all of this is included in source, and it not just includes written information, but also information that you gain through seminars. You gain through different portals in the academic context. Now further, if I've not covered all the aspects of Gazette. It is easily available online, but one of the most important elements there is the levels of plagiarism that the guidelines clearly tell us, and what other penalties are in place if these percentages are flouted. So these are the levels that we have. Level 0 is when the text of a research scholar has similarities of up to 10%, right? So through the plagiarism detective softwares, when the percentage is up to 10%, then there are no penalty. Then following, between 10 to 40, 40 to 60, and then finally above 60, we have different guidelines, regarding the penalty that is given in the UGC Gazette. So you can see on your screens the penalties, which are there. If it is up to 10%, then there is no penalty. If the similarity is between 10 to 40%, then the researcher, or any person who is producing the text for publication or for submission, then that person will be asked to withdraw manuscript. If it is above 40 to 60%, above 40 and till 60%, then he or she shall be asked to withdraw manuscript, shall be denied a right to one annual increment, shall not be allowed to be a supervisor to any new master's, MPhil, PhD student scholar for a period of 2 years. So these are the penalties which are in academic and research publications. They're not intended for students in undergrad or graduation level, but in academic and research publications. Moving further, at stage 3, where the similarities go beyond 60%, the the researcher is asked to withdraw manuscript, shall be denied a right to do successive annual increments, shall not be allowed to be a supervisor to any new master's, MPhil, PhD for a period of 3 years. So as we have seen, the policy is quite stringent, and it has neatly defined various stages of plagiarism and how can we tend to different stages of plagiarism based on the severity of the issue. Right? There's another regulation that was provided by UGC, and I want to just pay a little more attention to it, which is the problem of self-plagiarism. Now, UGC also produced and sent out guidelines on self-plagiarism, which is dated 20th April 2020. It is also easily available on the internet. And this is the definition that we get in that particular notification. Reproduction in part or whole of one's own previously published work without adequate citation and proper acknowledgement, and claiming the most recent work as new and original for any academic advantage amounts to text recycling, also known as self-plagiarism, is not acceptable. Sorry, there's a typo error here, is not acceptable. Self-citation, do not add any numbers to the individual citation index or H index in the global academia. So, your H index is not is not considered. If you self-plagiarize, right? If you self-cite, if you use something from your previous sources and you reproduce them in your own work, then it doesn't add to your H index. So these are the guidelines that came in 2020 and clearly clamped down on the practice of self-plagiarism. Now, you can see, the references, that I've used in the presentation so far are mostly from the book by Diana Pecori, Teaching to Avoid Plagiarism. And these are the working definitions of plagiarism, and it summarizes between textual plagiarism, prototypical plagiarism, and patch writing. So when text A and B are similar, these are the ways we can identify under which category of plagiarism it falls. Okay. Right. Now I would like to move on the next aspect of this presentation, which is reasons for plagiarism. And in order to continue with the argument that I made earlier about the pedagogical technique that is needed to check plagiarism, rather than a punitive technique, is to understand the reasons behind plagiarism. Why do academic researchers, scholars plagiarize? So, first of all, when the researcher is not sure when to and how a reference must be cited, this is one of the most common confusion that we also face at times, especially when we feel that there's a gap between our academic research and teaching, where we lose touch with the latest guidelines that are in place towards citation. So confusion when to and how a reference must be cited. Sometimes, in order to make information less factual and dry, that's also one of the reasons. Now, what do we think is the biggest reason behind plagiarism? Now, the most popular and a simple answer would be a lack of academic honesty, right? If we can find out a case of intentional plagiarism, that's very good. Somebody intentionally trying to steal somebody else's work and not acknowledging it comes under intentional plagiarism. So that amounts to academic dishonesty, and that's an answer that we can easily identify. But at the same time, is our reason behind plagiarism always have to do with academic dishonesty? Do we also need to think about the lack of knowledge that sometimes we have about the concept of plagiarism itself? So the second and more complicated answer that what is the reason, what is the biggest reason behind plagiarism, may lie in our lack of understanding of clear policy and pedagogy surrounding this issue. Because as researchers and teachers, I believe that we keep discovering new academic and scholarly practices. Just the way we all are expected to develop e-content, it's a very important way to blend online and offline education. And this is a field, this is an area which is important for all of us to engage with. So this is the kind of academic and scholarly practice that we have to engage with, whether we prepare PowerPoint presentations, whether we prepare a short written content for students to consume, whether we write research papers, whether we include other cultural text around us in the form of Instagram memes, Facebook post. So our academic and scholarly practices are constantly changing, and our lack of knowledge of these different various texts which are available and how to cite them creates that pedagogical issue, that we don't know what steps to follow. So that's, I think, it's a more complicated and a reason that can be that one of the reasons that can be handled and tackled through the pedagogical practices. Now, another reason that we find is when the writer is unable to find their own voice with respect to published text. This is something that we experience when we write different kinds of research essays, and we want to write on a topic where we fail to find our own voice, difficulty in expressing an authorial voice, insufficient time, academic competition, electronic media. It also has to do with our in academic reading and writing skills, and feeling of alienation within the academic community. So there are several factors. Just making a blanket statement of academic dishonesty is something which doesn't look at these more nuanced factors, which are behind the reasons for plagiarism, and therefore the need for pedagogical approach to tackle this issue. Now, my next slide is therefore important in this aspect, which looks at the issue of how to deal and manage with intentional and unintentional plagiarism. So, this particular slide looks at the kind of role that universities and regulatory bodies can play. So a proactive measure rather than a reactive measure is also needed at the same time. We do have a very elaborate set of guidelines provided by the UGC, and these are all of these are the reactive responses after we discover plagiarism in a certain content and what steps to be done. But at the same time, our academic fraternity can also look a little deeper into the proactive aspects of plagiarism, whereby we can emphasize on the ethos of academic integrity. Appropriate citation fosters critical thinking abilities, which is important in academic value. So appropriate citation is important, and it not only allows us to avoid plagiarism, but it also helps to develop thinking abilities. Warning, declaration, and undertaking are the methods in which we can check plagiarism from taking place, where the writers wherever they're publishing something in their individual capacity are supposed to declare that their work is free of plagiarism or given undertaking. Now, this I think this is a topic that needs another workshop, altogether, because it's something which is very wide and has many aspects to it, which is decoding academic writing. And I want to just focus a little bit here on the pedagogical aspect, of how to treat plagiarism. So. If we commit unintentional plagiarism, how that can be checked, what are the tools and strategies, what are the important aspects of academic writing then come into play to treat or tackle the problem of unintentional plagiarism. So first and foremost, it's about providing information. It's about identification of sources. We must write quotations, paraphrases, and summaries, be able to distinguish them between these various kinds of academic writings. And as we grow into mature and experienced writers, we are gradually able to identify when we are building our own text, when to quote, when to paraphrase, and when to summarize. plagiarize. So it's all the way going back to the basics and building our understanding of concepts. Then subject specific knowledge and skills are also important, right? uh, all the esteemed faculty members that are present here have their expertise in their own subject areas, and that knowledge helps us to approach the issue of plagiarism and tackle it. Then no, when we pay attention to academic writing, we should always be able to make sure that our content and the content that we are producing, that readers are able to transparently see the sources that are mentioned. And therefore, the emphasis on principles of academic writing is very important. The original argument or any fresh perspective that we introduce into our content has to contextualized in the existing scholarship or literature that is already available. When it comes to quotation, the direct quotations should always be recognizable. And I think all of us who are present here at different stages of our academic career, we have engaged with publications, and we know in all the disciplines there are certain conventions and guidelines which are available on citations. So following those guidelines remains necessary, whether we are providing an in-text citation or we are quoting from somebody's work or we are providing footnotes and endnotes. So it depends on which convention we are following, whether it is MLA or APA or Chicago style. These are all the popular conventions that are available in arts and humanities disciplines. Then another interesting problem that we face in academic writing is second-hand citation. When we are citing somebody and that particular person cites somebody else, so either we use the original source, right? And sometimes that original source is not available. So what we can do is we cite it in such a way that our citation shows all the resources being used, right? So engaging with such academic concepts become important. Maintaining a working bibliography is another important factor that comes into play, that allows us to uh, you know uh, maintain our record of sources that we use at several stages of preparing a content. So a working bibliography basically means list of all the resources that we have used. And since the word itself includes working, so it is something which keeps changing. So it's a list of all the resources whether online or offline that we have used, and we make a list of it. There are several tools that are available out there, and my next speaker will be highlighting these tools for maintaining bibliography, such as Mendeley, Reference Manager, EndNote, and OneNote. Another important aspect that we can keep in mind is literature review, right? When we prepare a content, we always look up for already pieces of literature that exist in that discipline. And by identifying the purpose, method, and result in those different sources, we can also cleanly understand about what is it that we are looking at. Now, this is something which I have taken from Rowena Murray's book on how to write a thesis, which, as you can see, is an example of how a summary, paraphrase, quotation, and is can be written based on this original paragraph. And at point number 4, you can see that that is a plagiarized paragraph. So I'll just give all of you a few minutes to read this and just identify the writing style in each of these different types of writing, and see for yourself how the first 3 are different from the plagiarized text. Okay. So I'll just quickly read the original and then we'll read the plagiarized version. Paradoxically, as we move towards constructing and rehearsing outlines and arguments, free writing and generative writing can still prove useful as we explore options. They can help us to move beyond the fragments of a thesis by having several attempts at pulling them together. They allow us to write briefly about the whole thesis. They can help us to find the type of story that our thesis will tell. Now, the plagiarized part reads like this. It is possible to move towards constructing and rehearsing outlines and arguments using free writing and generative writing. We can clearly identify that this entire phrase is lifted directly from the original. We can move beyond the fragments of a thesis by having several attempts at pulling them together. Again, culling of certain phrases as it is in the recreation of that particular paragraph. And these are the examples that we see of how a summary, paraphrase, and quotation can help us from plagiarizing something. Okay. Uh, in order to add to the discussion, of academic approach, and pedagogical aspect of plagiarism, this is another interesting way to look at, how we write, how we construct, our academic pieces. This is a very typical and a prototype, of how to write a paragraph, right? So it's like, beginning, with the paragraph structure, right, which includes a topic sentence, and then a context, then example or illustration, and finally showing examples how you prove your point. So what I'm trying to say here is that the decoding academic writing involves our awareness of these several issues, right, about different types of writing, such as summarizing, paraphrasing, and quotation, and blending all of these different types of writing when we write a paragraph or when we start building our text, which we intend to publish anywhere. So this is again from the book by Rowena Murray, How to Write a Thesis. It's a very useful book. Then there's another interesting template that exists there, which also looks at this aspect of referencing, which is about the template of They Say, I Say. This is from the book of the same title by Gerald Graff and Kathy Wilkenstein. And there's a quotation which I've used here. Writing well means entering into a conversation with others. Academic writing, in particular, calls upon writers not simply to express their own ideas, but to do so as a response to what others have said. So this is a template, which is very popular. It's used, in various academic disciplines, where They Say, I Say, where we are able to distinguish from the list of resources that we use and identify from a piece of writing of what others have said and what we are contributing. So They Say, I Say, this is the template that we can use to identify which part of a particular text or paragraph uses evidence or any kind of quotation from other resources, and which part of the paragraph includes something that we say. So that's another interesting aspect. Now, I also want to show all of you, just a second. Yes, I'm sharing with all of you this web page of owl.purdue.edu. This is a website that is dedicated to academic writing, and it has a full-fledged content on preventing plagiarism, and it discusses several aspects that we have also touched in today's presentation. And on the page, you can see this tabulated form, of different kinds of academic writing techniques that one can adopt, which are the three most important principles in academic writing to avoid plagiarism, which is summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting, right? To break it down, we have understood that academic plagiarism basically has three components. One is the work, second it's the words, and third is the ideas, right? uh, yes, ma'am. Ms. Rajni
Mhm.
has raised.
Can you please give us the name of the website again?
Yes, ma'am. This is the website. This is the Purdue Online Writing Lab, College of Liberal Arts. owl.purdue.edu.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Right. Okay. Now, quickly, I'm also running out of time. I'll just quickly summarize the three levels of academic plagiarism that we usually confront. Number one, it's work. When we are using somebody else's material or research without properly citing them. So that's the basic. Second is words. When we steal passages, chapter, quotations, or any other written material, it could be even a text, or even a Facebook post, or even a meme that we now find on various social media portals. Even that is considered theft. And finally, the more subtle manner in which plagiarism happens is at the level of ideas, to lift and use ideas of other researchers and disguising them in such a way, by using your own words and phrases, that it remains different from the original text. But it is still considered and considered as a breach of academic honesty. So, so when we look at the issue of unintentional plagiarism, it basically has two different aspects to it. Basically, not documenting sources and borrowing without awareness. So either we are not documenting the sources, we are not entering either in text citation, or we are not entering that source in the list of bibliography. That is when unintentional plagiarism happens, when we forget to put that in a list of bibliographic details. And second is when we borrow something without being aware of it. I've already discussed it as patchwork or mosaic kind of plagiarism, and also the crypto amnesia, which leads to unintentional plagiarism. The reasons for this we have discussed: lack of time, lack of organization. Sometimes we are insecure about our own writing, and therefore the solution lies is giving ourselves time enough to revisit, edit, and follow the basic principles of academic writing, and maintaining a working bibliography, right? So this is how we can avoid unintentional plagiarism. Then paraphrasing, quote, and citation is also the most important way to deal with the problem of plagiarism. Now, as you see, paraphrasing is something where we explain a portion of the text in our own words. So we are rendering the essential information and ideas by someone else in our own words. That is why we should express our knowledge and understanding and ask ourselves how it is related to the kind of project we are looking at. So that's what paraphrasing is. Now, one of the important questions that we can ask ourselves is when to paraphrase, right? So we can paraphrase in two situations. One, whatever the writer has written, can we write the same information in a more clear and concise manner? So that is one way in which we can look at the idea of paraphrasing. We need to feel to paraphrase when we feel that we can say the same thing in a more concise and clear manner. And secondly, when your argument depends on the details of a source but not on its specific words. So कभी कभी हमें sense argument ही चाहिए होता है ना. We don't need those jargon words at all. So when we only looking for the essential part and not the jargon style of it. So that's another way to look at the idea of academic writing, by asking the question, why do we want to paraphrase, why do we want to cite, why do we want to write a summary? And then constantly finding in our works about they say, I say template, where the parts where we have quoted somebody, or the parts where we have given our own original contribution. Right. Now, so I have already discussed, several aspects of academic writing. Then, I think most of the teachers who present here are already aware of it. This is just kind of refreshing, of all of these things. Right. Okay. Let me just go back to the slides once again and all right. Yes. So we have covered how dealing with the problem of intentional plagiarism and unintentional plagiarism involves university guidelines, involves policies, and for that we also need academic support. So institutional audit is also important, where action can be taken by the university administration to prevent plagiarism. And I would say not just action, but a proactive approach can be adopted by the university and colleges. First is regulation and policy, which needs to be circulated amongst all the stakeholders. Information detection procedures and penalties and information that needs to be imparted on these aspects should be made available. Staff support, and then punitive response and pedagogical response, are definitely out there, are important. Punitive response for those instances where plagiarism is intentional, and pedagogical response at those places where the plagiarism is unintentional. And this brings me to the last slide and the conclusive slide of my presentation, which is also related to the pedagogical aspect of presentation of plagiarism, which is understanding plagiarism across different academic subjects. Now, just like UGC has released its guidelines, pertaining to all higher education institutions, universities across the globe release mostly single set university-wide plagiarism guidelines. Now, this is something which doesn't keep in mind the fact that one size fits all, right? So it is important that we acknowledge and understand the gap that is there in this one size fits all policies, and therefore all of us must have essential policies in place that take into consideration this diversity. So for example, we have different manner and plagiarism habits in the STEM disciplines such as science, technology, engineering, mathematics, which are different from those of arts and humanities disciplines. And based on certain surveys that I've come across in books, it was found out that the instances of plagiarism was more in STEM disciplines and low in arts and humanities discipline. Now, again, one of the more simplistic way of looking at it is that do STEM disciplines and scholars are more inclined to cheat in those disciplines, or there's something else, right? So again, looking at the pedagogical aspect of plagiarism, it is the information searching and reading processes that differ across disciplines, right? So even our approach to certain material, right, even our structuring of our particular content differs from discipline to discipline, and therefore having a university wide guideline is something that can be a starting point to tackle plagiarism. But we all know that the gap that is there in one size fits all creates problem to identify plagiarism or to demarcate it. So, for instance, reference style is more varied in humanities and social sciences than in other STEM disciplines, right? There's also the difference that is there in the integral and non-integral citations based on the degree of subjectivity. So in most of the STEM disciplines, we normally have non-integral citations where there's a direct or fact-based citation or references that doesn't require a lot of argumentation, while in humanities and social sciences, whenever we tend to use different resources, our own subjective understanding of somebody else's claim is also involved. So the subjectivity is more in the arts and humanities courses than in the STEM disciplines. So this is also one criteria which allows us to see the gap in this one size fits all policies. I think on this note, I would like to end my presentation and invite comments, feedback, and questions from the faculty members. Thank you.
Anyone has any questions? Okay. Thank you so much, Tanu. Your talk was wonderful and very informative. Now I request Ms. Karnika Gaur ma'am to please come and give a talk on the topic using URKUND plagiarism software. Kanika ma'am?
Yeah, thank you, Savita. Just
Welcome, ma'am.
welcome. Thank you, Savita. I'll just be starting with my presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank our principal ma'am for giving me this opportunity to present my talk on URKUND. And secondly, I would also like to thank the convener of e-content committee, Dr. Shilpika Bali Mehta, and co-convener Dr. Savita Sharma, and all the other members of e-content committee also. And I would also like to thank all the faculty members who have joined at this time, at this hour, to listen to me. So I hope I am able to do justice to my talk. So let's start. The topic of my today talk is using URKUND, a plagiarism software. So I'll just start with an introduction about URKUND. It is a completely automated system which is against plagiarism, and it is called as an anti-plagiarism software. And it is being successfully used at various universities and colleges all around the world. This URKUND plagiarism detection software is being created by Prior Info Center from Sweden, and in its Indian partner is eGalactic, which has been selected by Inflibnat Center, that is Inter-University Center of UGC, under the aegis of Ministry of HRD to enhance quality and prevent plagiarism in the research and academic publications. The URKUND systems check all the documents which are being submitted to its portal for plagiarism check or for similarity check through three central sources areas. First is the internet, second is the published material such as the books, journals, etc. And third is the previously submitted students' material, or for example, memorandums, case studies, examination, whatever is there in the database of the URKUND. So this is a brief introduction about URKUND. Then next will be a summary, like as you all know that Delhi, we are getting the access of URKUND through the Delhi University library system. So now they have given they have extended the services to the permanent faculty also, and I hope very soon they will be giving it to all the faculty members. And an email has been sent to all the permanent faculty members on their college email ID, and you all were supposed to activate that link which has been there, and it was only active for 96 hours. So I hope all of you have activated it. If somebody has still not activated it, then they can write back to me. I will get it reactivated. And once you activate that particular link, an analysis address in your name is being created by URKUND itself. And that analysis address is being linked with your registered email ID, and all your reports, all your confirmation of receipt when you upload a particular document for similarity check, all that emails are being sent on your registered email ID. I would also like to highlight that there is no limit on number of submissions of documents and number of users, like number of users who can be part of the URKUND from any particular college or university. However, there is a limit on the number of character in a document, and which is 4 lakh characters. And if any document is having more than 4 lakh characters, then the URKUND divides, treat it as a 2 documents, and then you will be receiving 2 particular report analysis. So let's start. I'll be giving you more of the practical demonstration. Like some slides would be there, and then I will be going for the practical. So this is the login. URKUND access. is whatever the email you have been registered with, that is, it has to be written here, and the password also is there, and you can log in with that particular thing. Then as soon as you log in, we see another window, and these are the different tags, but right now you will not be able to see it. Have checked some similar, otherwise it will be all blank. Okay, so on the top, like, this is the analysis address, where your analysis address, as I told you, that the URKUND will be creating your analysis address, so your name would be there. Here it will be here. This is called as analysis address. Then this is the link where we have to upload the document. We will click on this, and then we will be able to upload any document on that. Then here, this is the percentage, which if whenever the document is submitted and a report is generated, the percentage of similarity will be shown here. Okay, this is the document number, which has been given to each and every document, and it is unique in itself, and we are able to identify with document. This is the title of your document. This is the title of your document. This is the test purpose, like whatever subject which has been given. This is the size, the correct words is there in your, who has uploaded, the date, time, everything has been there, and this is the your profile ID is there. Then once we click on upload, the link upload, then we move to this particular window, where this is an analysis address, where you have to, then you can give a message also. These are the different file extensions which can be uploaded, that I will be covering later on, and this is a submit button here. So once you upload a document, this kind of a message is shown in your inbox. Okay, and just as you can see, there is a setting button here. Once you click that, this kind of a window will pop up on your screen. As you can see, my name is coming because I have entered with this particular email ID of mine, and this is English language. All the other languages will be shown. Newsletter is there, that means I'm asking them to send me newsletter of URKUND. Then I'm also saying them to send report by email to the registered email ID, which is there on above. Can you see on the next, the sources, like you search in URKUND archive. This is a tick box, I have ticked it. And then on another is search in on archive. If these two checkbox are ticked, that means we are telling them that they have to search in URKUND archive only. And I am saying, and if I unclick it, then it will be searching on all the internet and other archives, other databases also, which are available in internet, and the 3 resources I have told you that. And on the next, that is searching on archive. Like for example, if I have uploaded one document and once it has been checked, then again after, and there is a similarity check, and then I revise it, and then I again want to check the similarity report. If this particular checkbox is ticked, then it will be including that particular paper also again, and then the similarity report would be coming 100%. So once we start, we have to unclick this. Right now I have clicked purposely to show you, but once we start, then we should always go to the settings, and we should always unclick these 2 checkbox, so that we don't want to include our paper again and again. Then next is the source filter. As you can see, in this you can type any source which is available, and to that document which you do not want them to include in the analysis. You can give as number of sources which you know that this might be showing similarity. You can exclude them once you enter here. As you can see, there is a plus sign. You can keep on adding all the sources from there, and then you can update the same. Once you upload, submit the button, this
Karnika, sorry to interrupt you. Can you repeat the last one? Sources, the plus sign part.
The plus
source filters.
Yeah, the source filter is this plus sign, means that, like for example, there we refer number of resources, for example, or it is my paper only there, and I want them, it should not be included in my analysis when I'm doing a particular paper, when I'm checking. So I can write that address, that source filter is there. So it will be excluded. That particular URL will be excluded in future analysis from the URKUND analysis whenever you are uploading that particular paper for yours. Is it fine? So with this plus, you can add more resources.
My purpose is that I want to exclude the paper I have already uploaded. Suppose I have uploaded one paper. So here what I have to do, where should I get the address?
Search in own archive, you have to uncheck that box.
That's it.
Yeah, if it's the same paper you do not want it to be again checked, then this search in own archive checkbox has to be unclicked.
Okay, fine. What about this plus sign you are showing at the right hand side?
Yeah, this sign is that you can add as many as sources which you want to exclude from your future analysis.
Okay.
So this is a setting. This is a basic setting you can manage, and whenever you are submitting another paper, you can make changes in your setting. This is your profile.
Fine, fine.
Fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So this is kind of once you upload, submit the paper, whatever the paper is there, it is submitted. This kind of a confirmation mail comes to your registered email ID. As you can say that it has received that, and you should always make sure that you receive this confirmation of receipt. If this is not there, then there is some issue that your paper might not have been properly uploaded. So please ensure that in your inbox this particular mail comes. Okay. After that, like sometimes it takes 10 to 15 minutes for our URKUND to do an analysis of your paper. Sometimes it might take half an hour or 1 hour depending upon the rush or the volume of the paper. After that, another mail comes to your email ID that is called as report. Okay, this is kind of a report comes in your email ID. Where this is not very clear, but I will be taking you to that link, then you will be able to understand. I think it's not very clear. Okay. Here a particular links come, I think, from where this is a link from, if you click, it will be directly taking you to the your analysis report. So this is a link, and as I said, this 30 minutes and within a maximum of 24 hours, you will be getting a report. This comes on your registered email ID, and it will be showing you the similarity. Like say for example, it's showing 100% similarity. It was a random thing I just uploaded and checked it, so it's just showing 100% similarity. But by clicking on this, here it's there, report is generated. In that click, the link is there. If you click it, you will be able to go to that particular report. It will be showing on that. Then there is another way of seeing your report is like in your inbox. Once you upload, and if you come back to your inbox of your URKUND login ID, here you can see 100% it's showing. If you click on that, it will also take you to the report analysis. If you click in that, it will be opening again the analysis of your report, and your document will be getting a particular number. So, and it will be there in your database only forever. You can again and again come back and can check this thing. So I'll just like to go and show you a practical portion for this just right now, please. How will I do it? Okay. See, this is the login page of URKUND. As you can say, it is secureurkund.com at the account authorized login. This is the user name and email ID. I hope everybody is able to see this. You have to write your email ID which has been given to you, then your password, and click on login. In case if you forgot your password, you can always click here and our link will be sent on your email ID, on this email ID, and you can reset your password. So I'll just click on login and I will be going to this particular page. As you can see that I have not uploaded any paper. So right now it is showing the folder is empty. This is the URKUND analysis address which has been created in my name. Okay, this is what I was talking about it. And this is the area where our papers will be showing once I'll start uploading the papers. And this is the setting which I was talking about. If you want, you can deselect it. and then you can update it. So my settings has been changed, and I don't want my own papers to be again and again checked. I think, okay. See, this is the upload document button. You have to click on this. This will be taking you to the submission button. Here on the select analysis address, please click on this button. It will be showing your own address. You have to select this so that URKUND is able to send the analysis to this particular address, and this address is linked to your registered email ID. Okay, you can write this any subject randomly, like article from, I'm just writing my name, and I just like again I'm just repeating the same thing. This is a subject you want, you can add. If you want, you can skip also. See, this is a document where we will be uploading the document. As you can see here, these are the different file formats. Can you see, all of you? These are the different file formats which you can use to upload your documents. If the file is not in any of these formats, the URKUND will not be able to upload them, and it will be showing error. Okay, here you have to just click, and in from your like I'm just randomly selecting any paper, and this is showing, and I have to click on submit. So now it is sending the document to the URKUND database for plagiarism, for similarity check. So I have to click on OK. So the document has gone back. I'll go back to my inbox and refresh it. Can you see? Now I have whatever I have uploaded, it was URKUND something doc was there, and the subject is showing here. It is showing the size, the words, and the date and time is also showing, and a number has been given to my document. So this is an ID. In case in future we have to write to URKUND or eGalactic that we want to remove this document or we want to refer something, then we will have to use this ID for that. As right now it's just processing, so after a certain time period when the analysis will be done, the percentage will be shown here. Okay, this is my, as you can see here, this is where my name is there. There is my profile. I can click on that. It will be showing my profile. I can change my password from here also. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Can I log out from here?
It is clear.
Okay. Can I move further?
Sure.
Okay. So now we will be moving to how to read the analysis report of URKUND. Okay. So let's start. See, this is once you click on that secure link which is being sent on your email ID, or you click on that percentage, it will be showing you this kind of a page, like analysis overview. This kind of bars would be there on left side. They will be finding some kind of a bar would be there on right side. This is the page from where we start assessing the analysis. It will show us the similarity percentage, the number of text messages, warnings, everything. This is the front page once you click on that. Okay. Let me tell you, like this particular thing is called as on the top bar, that is called as the document overview bar, where all the pages, like this page, can you see page 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the number of pages of my paper which has been uploaded on that, and it is showing this yellow bars, or this rows is showing the content where they're showing some similarity. Page by page, you can see, you can click on those pages and you can go to particular page and can check the similarity also from there. So this is called as the document bar view. Okay, on the right left side, this is a finding. This is like how many matches, like from how many sources this is showing, your paper is showing similarity, that is coming. Then there are certain warnings. Warnings sometimes comes when there are like what I have checked, like seen is that sometimes numerical symbols are there, it is not able to read. Sometimes what happens that like I have seen in some synopsis or thesis in some other universities that students rewrite the papers and then they use comma and they want to hide it also, like so that it doesn't come. So they what they do is they change the color of that comma or full stop with white so that they think that Urkund will not be able to read it, but Urkund is able to read that things and then it shows warnings from here. And view the entire document is the another thing is there. From here you can see your whole document and you can go there. Then this is the similarity. This bar chart thing is the text similarity percentage shows. On the left side is the submission details, like who has submitted, what is the file name, when it was submitted, all that kind of thing is there. And these are the quick options. I will be taking going further with that. See, as I told you, this was the document overview bar, like first, second, third page of your document, and it's showing different colors on that. And you can click on that and you can go directly to see your page. So see your paper, okay? See, this, for example, if I click on this matching, finding things, and if I click on this, it will start showing me like this on this side, findings, matching blocks. This is the first thing it is showing, like my particular paper, whatever the content of my paper, it's showing similarity is coming on the top, and from the source is also being shown. You can click on view detail to see further than that. Then on the right side is the submission. Submission details are there. I hope you are able to see. It is the submitter's name, file name, date, time, submission, all these kinds of things are shown here. See, it's the same again, the warnings and the matching signs. On the this is the similarity index, which is shown in the bar format, and it displays two similarities. One is assignment aggregated similarity percentage and the receiver's average similarity. That is the average similarity of all the submitted documents to this receiver. Like if I have whatever the number of papers I have submitted, it will be showing me that particular receiver's average of that. And on the left side, this is URKUND is there to help you out. It will provide you with document specific tips for better understanding of the analysis, and I will just say it is still under developing stage and will be improved further on. It is still under development only. On the top right side there are three buttons, you can three symbols you can see. One is this reverse like arrow which is in circular. This is a reset report button. This is an export. This drop down arrow is an export to PDF, or if you want to export your report, similarity report, this is the symbol which we make use of it. And this question mark will open a quick start guide for you. Okay, I think let's go to a particular document, then it will be better understood. See, I have randomly just uploaded one of my paper. It was nothing like it just showing some kind of matching. I'll just showing you. It's nothing like that. It's just paper has been. So can you see? It's showing all the pages of my document, and it's all clickable. If I click on that, it is showing me the matching block. Okay, so this is the portion which is from my paper, and it is showing the similarity. And if I want, I can include in analysis. I can exclude also from analysis if I want to, and I can see the view details. It will be taking me to the findings again. This is one way of seeing your report. Another one is if you go to this finding part and you click on matching text, again it will be taking you to another column where all the 44, it was showing 44 matches. So one by one it will be showing you all the documents. On this side, left side, it will be my content from my paper, and on the right side it will be from the matching text, from the source where it is showing matching. And this is the source. You can see there are 3 alternate source also it is showing. I can switch on this also. So, and I can recheck, and if I do not want to include it in my analysis, I can Just cross it and it will be, as you can see, the similarity has been decreased. Okay, this is the next highlight. If I want to, this is the first, this is 1 by 44. Second, if I click on next highlight, I don't know why it is not showing right now. See, it is a random paper, so it is showing everywhere 100% only. I don't know, but it was showing earlier. Right now it is not showing my portion, but earlier it was showing. Or we can go like this. See, if I click on entire document, my paper is shown like this, and it is with the pink color it is showing, and this is, if you click on that, it will be taking me to which source this particular document is showing matching, and I can go there. And now we are leaving the original like URKUND website, and we are going to that particular source from where it is showing us the matching. And I can check the paper, and if it is my paper, then I can come back here and can exclude from, like I do not want to include it, so I can exclude this. So now my similarity will be decreased. Like earlier it was 79, now it is 73. So this is also another way of it. But I prefer this way. Like now you can see one match has been removed. Now it is 1 by 43 because I have deselected one. I have excluded one analysis source from my report. So this way we can go one by one and can compare. On the left side it will be our document. On the right side it will be the document which is from where it is showing the similarity. And we can one by one go and can check, and then wherever we think it's our paper or the paper has been published after our paper, then we can exclude that particular paper from our analysis. See, the similarity is decreasing, you can see from here. This is one way of doing it. Another way, I told you this entire document, and you can see your whole document, and on this side on the boxes it's showing, you can click on that and it will be showing you your matches. This is also another way of checking your whole report or your paper, the similarity report of that. Third one is like, if you click on this, can you see the sources? If you click on this, it will be showing you all the sources from where it is showing you the matching, like from where it is showing the similarity reports. And this is the percentage from where, like for example, this publication from DRDO, this is showing 23%. It is going in a like chronological order, 23% from here, 23% from Influence Center paper, and 5.3, all these are there. Can you see? These are all the sources from where it is showing my similarity. And if you click on that, it will be showing further alternate sources from where my similarity, my paper is showing similarity. So that we can check that also, and we can exclude them if it's impermissible. Then this is location in my document, like in my paper. And if you click on this, so we, from here also we can go to the source. See, again it is opening the same paper. So this is also another way of checking the URKUND report. Okay. Just a minute, please. See, right now my similarity index is 71. If I use this button to reset my report state, if I click on that, you'll just see. See, it has again gone back to 79%. By mistake, if I've done something and I want to again redo, undo the thing, the unchecked, then this is the way I can do it. If once I have checked everything and I'm satisfied that this is the percentage which I'm coming, for example, I'll just do randomly. I'm just excluding and decreasing my percentage. See, 69 is there, and now I want to download the document which I have to use and send it to. Then I will be clicking on this particular drop down button. See, I'm just opening. You can save it also on your desktop, or you can open and can see. It's a PDF file. See, as you can see on the first, it's showing my title, when it was uploaded, name, what is the percentage, all the sources from where it is showing the similarity. And then my whole paper would be there. And from where it is showing all the matching, it's showing here. And this is the kind of report which now we have to submit for if we have to publish a paper or for any our promotions where we have to. So this is the report which has been required by the authorities now. So you can download it and you can save it in your desktop once it is being done. Okay, let's go back to our PPT. This I have discussed with you. Just going further. This all I have shown you. Yeah, this is all from my side. If you have any questions, then you can ask. This was a very brief thing. Why not?
I have a query.
Yeah, just how to stop this?
कनिका आवाज नहीं आ रही है
मेरी आवाज नहीं आ
कुछ कुछ ना अब आ रही है
हाँ बताइए पूछिए
हाँ जी मैं ये पूछना चाह रही थी that somehow if I have uploaded some paper, is there any way to remove that?
Yeah, you have to write an email to URKUND. Like e-directives, the email address will be there once you upload a document and a confirmation emails comes to on your email ID. There's a support, URKUND support email ID is there. You can send an email there and then you have to write, you can write your request and they will be deleting the document.
Okay, by ourselves we can't do that. It is to be run by URKUND only.
No. We don't have it because we are not the admin for this. For Delhi University, all the rights is with DUCC Center. So either we can write their email ID or we can send it directly to URKUND.
Okay, thank you.
कनिका एक क्वेश्चन था
हाँ मीना पूछिए
मैं कहती हिंदी और इंग्लिश के लिए सेम प्रोसीजर है जो तुमने समझाया ना उसी से करना है
हाँ ये उर्दू में है आपको इसमें इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस भी अब काफी ऐड हो गई हैं और उनका भी कल आता है काफी
मतलब हिंदी का भी हो सकता है ना अगर हम कोई पेपर हिंदी का करना चाहें तो वो भी हो जाएगा ना इसी से
हाँ हिंदी का भी होता है और भी मल्टी लैंग्वेज जो हमारे इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस है उनमें काफी अब ऐड हो गया है बट ये इंटरनेट पे आपके लैंग्वेजेस के जो अदर लैंग्वेजेस है इंडियन लैंग्वेजेस उनके रिसोर्सेज इतने अवेलेबल नहीं है तो नेचुरली उनकी सिमिलरिटी इंडेक्स बहुत कम आता है इन कंपैरिजन टू जो इंग्लिश के पेपर जो साइंसेज अगर है पर हाँ हम कर सकते हैं हिंदी के पेपर्स किए भी हैं हमने अभी पीछे जो एकेडमिक करता है
ओके थैंक यू कनिका बहुत अच्छे समझाया
थैंक यू सो मच यस रजनी
कनिका, क्या अगर हम पेपर अपने ना रिमूव करें उर्कुंड से तो कोई प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी क्या?
नहीं, जो मैंने आपको सेटिंग में बताया था ना कि आप उस बॉक्स को अनक्लिक करिए कि जो सर्च इन योर ओन आर्काइव जो है उसको आप अनक्लिक रखिए, तो वो आपके पेपर्स नहीं चेक करेगा।
ओके, नहीं अगर हम वो ना करें तो कोई इशू तो नहीं है? लेटर ऑन वी कैन डिलीट,
नहीं, कोई भी
फर्दर चेक करेंगे अपने पेपर्स।
नहीं, कोई भी इशू नहीं है। आप जैसे अभी मैंने आपको सिमिलैरिटी का दिखाया था कि आप उसको, आपका ही पेपर है तो आप उसको एक्सक्लूड कर सकते हैं एनालिसिस रिपोर्ट में से, और
उसको अनटिक करके
अनटिक करके भी। और जो सिमिलैरिटी अभी आपको एक रिपोर्ट दिखाई थी ना एनालिसिस में, जिसमें लेफ्ट साइड पे आपका अपना था और जो जहां वो मैचिंग दिखा रहा था, तो वो आप ही का डॉक्यूमेंट नंबर दिखाएगा, तो आप उसको एक्सक्लूड कर सकते हैं एनालिसिस से। जो ऊपर एक चेक बॉक्स था ना जो क्रॉस का था, एक्सक्लूड या इंक्लूडेड एनालिसिस है, उसको अगर हम चेक क्लिक कर देते हैं तो उससे वो एक्सक्लूड हो जाएगा। बट एक चीज मैं जरूर बताना चाहूंगी कि जो हम लोग सिमिलैरिटी इंडेक्स कम करते हैं और उसके बाद हम रिपोर्ट को डाउनलोड कर लेते हैं, और जब हम उससे लॉगिन करके बाहर आ जाते हैं, तो हमारा ये ध्यान रखिएगा कि उर्कुंड के डेटाबेस में वो पहले वाला ही रहेगा। जो अगर हमारा लेट्स से, अगर मैंने कोई पेपर उसमें अपलोड किया और उसकी सिमिलैरिटी इंडेक्स मुझे 20% दिखाया, और मैंने जब उसको चेक करके उसका सिमिलैरिटी इंडेक्स देखा कि वो मेरे ही पेपर से कर रहा है या किसी और सोर्स से जो बाद में छपा है या जो भी था, और मैंने उसका सिमिलैरिटी इंडेक्स कम कर लिया और लेट्स से मैं 8% तक ले आई, मैंने उसकी रिपोर्ट भी डाउनलोड करके अपने पास रख लिया, पर उसके अंदर मतलब वो रिपोर्ट वहां सेव नहीं होती, वो हमारे पास तो आ गई है, बट उर्कुंद के डेटाबेस में वो 20% ही शो करेगा हमेशा। सो कभी भी आपको इन फ्यूचर अगर कभी भी कोई क्वेश्चन आता है, जैसे हम कहीं सबमिट करते हैं, वैसे तो नहीं आएगा क्योंकि वो आपका खुद का ही पेपर होगा एंड यू आर ऑल्सो अवेयर अबाउट ऑल द रूल्स, तो आपको वो बता, मतलब आपको वो यू शुड बी एबल टू आंसर दैट। वो ध्यान रखिएगा जब आप इसको बंद करते हैं, मतलब एक्सक्लूड करते हैं फ्रॉम योर एनालिसिस रिपोर्ट एनी सोर्स, so you have to just keep in mind that.
Actually, Kanika, suppose I am writing a paper and in between I want to say कि कहाँ plagiarism है कहाँ नहीं है, तो पहले अपलोड किया, उसके बाद उसको रिमूव किया, उसको पेन को चेंज करके तो फिर से डाला, तो फिर से वो
100% दिखाएगा, पर वो आपके डॉक्यूमेंट से दिखाएगा, क्योंकि आपको डॉक्यूमेंट का जो एक नंबर जो मैंने बताया जो यूनिक नंबर है, वो जब हम उसे चेक करेंगे वो आप ही के पेपर को दिखाएगा। तभी मैंने बोला कि जो एक सेटिंग्स में अगर आप उसको करेंगे ना कि डोंट यू, मतलब आप अपने उसको ना इंक्लूड करें सर्च इन योर यूजर्स आर्काइव, अगर आप उसको क्लिक नहीं करेंगे तो वो नहीं करेगा चेक। बार बार डिलीट करना इज ऑल्सो नॉट, मतलब वो भी आसान नहीं है, बार बार उर्कुंड को लिखना, वो लोग भी फिर कितना करेंगे कितना नहीं, अभी तक तो इतना ज्यादा हमने नहीं उसको उस पर्टिकुलर ऑप्शन को चेक किया है, बट पर लेकिन हाँ आई थिंक, पर जब आप सिमिलैरिटी इंडेक्स से कम करेंगे एंड इट इज योर पेपर ओनली एंड यू हैव अ वैलिड रीजन फॉर दैट, इट इज एक्सेप्टेबल।
okay. So if I'm checking the same paper again and again after reducing, there'll be no problem then.
No.
Thank
You
you.
have to answer valid answer for that, and it's that it was your paper and you were only checking for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
थैंक यू कनिका।
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope I am able to do some justice. I don't know how it went.
Very fine and excellent talk.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanika ma'am, for a wonderful talk. I would now like to propose someone has truly said that many a little makes a mickle. The successful culmination of any events depend upon the contribution of each and every contributor. So I wholeheartedly take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. I, on the behalf of the entire e-content development committee, thank our esteemed and very knowledgeable speakers of the day, Ms. Tanu Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of English, and Ms. Karnika Gaur, the librarian, Kalindi College, for sharing their valuable and very insightful talk on various aspects of plagiarism and various ways of avoiding plagiarism to retain the originality. So And to begin with, I will also like to extend my thanks to our principal ma'am, Professor Nena Hasija, for providing us constant support and motivation. And also, I would like to extend my the thanks to our convener, co-convener, and each and every member of the e-content development committee, without whom this event would not have been possible. Special thanks to YouTube committee and Mr. Vinay Bhushan for their constant help and support. Last but not the least, I would like to thank each participant, all the teaching faculty here, without whom this event would not have been successful. Thank you everyone very much for attending this webinar. Over to you, Savita ma'am.
I would also like to say thank you everyone for taking out time and attending the webinar at this hour in the evening when everyone is busy. So thank you all. Thank you so much. Feedback form is there in the chat box. So please fill the feedback form, and we will try in the future again to help with other such informative webinars. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Savita. Thank you, Pawan. And to all the members of e-content committee, giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking out time, especially when we know that you are so busy in the college with everything. We all know we all are busy with SSR, but thank you so much.
Everybody is busy. But, and Tan, it was a nice talk from your side also. It was very informative.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Goodbye.
Good evening. Goodbye.